Offer was sent 2 days ago.
In a recent interview, Jarron "Boots" Ennis shockingly called out Brian Norman Jr. for a unification fight. Meanwhile, Brian Norman Sr. posted a message on Instagram to IBF champion Jarron "Boots" Ennis and his promoter Eddie Hearn, telling them that they're interested in making a unification fight next. Brian Norman Sr. had his own set of explanatory sentences about declining the offer for a Boots matchup. He said that they received a call from Boots' team, and they sent a counteroffer on Brian Norman Jr.'s behalf.
These are my people, man. Hey, this is the latest on the situation with the Boots fight on our end. Trying to be as transparent as possible with Boots and Bozy on this team. I reached out to him after Eddie Hearn did his interview yesterday. We reached out immediately to Matchroom Lawyers, the one that sent the offer, and asked, what is this about us declining 2 offers?
Norman Sr. is still interested in making the fight with Boots Ennis, and he said that Boots is not such a big deal in the welterweight division. He further said that people just lie to Boots, saying no one wants to fight him. Brian Sr. further explained about his offer to Boots. "Your people told you a lie. We said yes to the fight. We simply made a counteroffer. I called your pops, Bozy Ennis, and told him after we accepted. He didn't know about it. We have plenty of time to make this fight happen next. You, sir, are not the boogeyman you think you are. People just lie to you and say people don't want to fight you." Norman Sr. reassured Ennis that he would like to talk to Eddie Hearn once again for the offer. On the other hand, Boots Ennis turned his attention to Norman Jr. after he defeated his most recent opponent, and claimed that he had sent an offer to Norman's team.
Brian Norman, he defeats Giovanni Santillan, stops him. Great fight, great performance. Him and his father's on record saying that they wanted to save you for last, being that the relationship and that they look at you as the toughest fight. That was right after Santillan. But as of recent, they're saying that if it's next, then it's next. That
Offer was sent 2 days ago.
Previously, it was believed that Norman and his team considered Boots to be the best in the welterweight division, so they were keeping him as their last opponent. Boots explained that he received no back-and-forth negotiation from Norman's team, although they had been willing to fight him back at home in Philadelphia as well. Ennis was of the opinion that they turned down the offer for a unification bout. Jarron "Boots" Ennis seemed extremely frustrated at Brian and his team for not giving him a positive response, and commented that he doesn't care who he fights next. His only goal is to collect all the belts. Jarron was committed to focusing his energy on becoming undisputed and collecting the WBC, WBA, and WBO belts. In another interview, Brian Norman Jr. clapped back at Jarron "Boots" Ennis, claiming that he and his team accepted their offer the same day it was posted. Norman said that he got the offer at the same time Jarron spoke bad about them.
An interview done by me, Jarron Ennis spoke on negotiations with you. And he's on record saying that you and your team turned down the fight.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
Real quick, just want to get my dates wrong. When was that interview posted? Oh, done?
Tuesday.
All right, so the interview was done Tuesday, but we also got the offer on Tuesday and sent back our counter offer on Tuesday. So I don't even know if things are able to get that counter offer to even say I accept it or decline. First thing first is we did decline the fight. I mean, not decline, we did accept the fight.
Norman Jr. said that his father called Boots' father Bozy Ennis about the fight, and Boots' father declined the counteroffer, saying that he is not looking for a fight right now. Norman Jr. claimed that he is down for any fight on any location, and he will even come down to Philadelphia to fight Boots. Brian Jr. further added, "And just like I said before, I'm always down to come to your hood and get this work in. So it never been that I never been no don't let this light skin fool you, I'm ready for all of that." Later on, Brian Norman Jr. shunned Boots by saying that he is not as big as he thinks he is. He said that a lot of people are bound by Boots, but he is different because he is a champion on his own. Brian said that Boots wasn't even involved in the negotiations, and his team is hiding the truth from him. Although negotiations are still underway, this recent drama stirred up some bad blood between Boots, his team, and Norman and his team. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn said that Jarron Ennis has become a superstar ever since he signed with Matchroom. Hearn believes that this is easy work for him, and he can do that again.
But over that, what will be, I don't know, 6-7 month period, we'll show you what we do. I will change your profile. I will make you a superstar. Even in that period, look at Jarron Ennis. Like, I've been working with Jarron Ennis for what, 5 months? You know, the guy's gone from an amazing fighter that not a lot of people knew about to a superstar of the sport, which just sold out 15,000 at Wells Fargo in Philadelphia. And this is easy work for me.
Eddie Hearn revealed that he made offers to Barrios, Brian Norman, and Stanionis to fight with Boots Ennis, and all of them have rejected. Although none of the fighters were interested in fighting Boots, Hearn believed that Norman's father was interested in making the fight, so it would be a good show. Eddie shockingly claimed that he did not receive the counteroffer from Norman's team. Hearn said, "He posted yesterday saying we made a counteroffer. We've not received any counteroffer, so Brian, if you would like to make a counteroffer, please hurry up and do so. But I want to make that fight, and if Brian Norman has the and if Brian Norman is genuine. Brian, if you're genuine, let's go. Let's speed it up. Let's get this fight made." Hearn said that these are the type of fights that the fans want, and he also rejected Norman's claim of Boots not being much of a boogeyman. Hearn said that if Brian believes that Boots is not a big deal, then he should be willing to make the fight. In addition, Brian Norman Sr. took to social media and ridiculed Eddie Hearn on the offer for a fight. Norman Sr. revealed that the first offer that Eddie Hearn's fight promotion sent was ridiculous, and the second one was close to his expectations. However, a request for a final offer from Norman Jr.'s team was met with silence, according to Norman Sr. The first offer was ridiculous, the second offer was close, and we can work with that a little bit. We asked, "What's your final offer?" There's been no response, nothing since then. On the opposite end, the whole drama started when Terence Crawford recently vacated his WBO title, and Brian Norman Jr. became the full champion. Furthermore, Brian Norman Sr. discussed that they could wait around and see who Ennis fights next and waste Boots' time in the process.
No, but we're talking about what makes sense. You got to think about the chances he's taking. Like, what we could do is we could wait it out. We could not do shit. We could make him, fight whoever he gonna fight Karen, fight this person, fight that person, and then make it a bigger fight later. You know what I mean? We could do that.
Brian Norman Sr. discussed the approach to the fight with Boots Ennis while focusing on the strategic elements of the bout. He debated the benefits of fighting Boots in his hometown versus a neutral location. Brian Sr. was concerned that fighting Boots in his hometown would create a biased audience. Brian's team are exploring the idea that a neutral venue might offer a fairer setting, potentially leveling the playing field. Norman Sr. added on the counter deal they sent, "Wait a minute, Pop, same deal, different location, is that possible?" "Yeah." The one they countered with in a different location? Absolutely yes. In addition, Brian Norman Sr. discussed the possibility of accepting a lower offer now, with the understanding that a strong showing in the fight could lead to better opportunities in the future. They consider that proving themselves in this bout could enhance their visibility and create more favorable conditions for future negotiations. Their strategy involves balancing the immediate drawbacks of the fight with the potential for long-term benefits, reflecting a calculated approach to both the current situation and their future prospects. Norman Sr. added on why Brian is the best. "We should have to, we the champ, he the youngest champion in boxing. You got to pay us to deal with that kind of..." On the other hand, boxing trainer Greg Hackett shared some brutal information about the Jarron Ennis versus Brian Norman Jr. fight. He said that he sees Norman starting out strong, but he will officially go home in the 6th or 7th round.
You said you feel like Brian Norman doesn't have enough. How do you see it going? Is it a 12-round wipeout, or is it competitive early?
I see him being tough first 3 rounds, but then from there, I think the pace will drive him crazy, and then by the 6th, 7th round, he'll be ready to go.
Hackett believed that it would be up to Boots to step on the gas and not let Norman go past the later rounds. Greg shared that he was present when Boots and Brian Norman sparred each other. Reflecting on the sparring session, Greg commented that by the 3rd round, Boots was dominating Norman, and he almost got knocked out. Then, Boots Ennis interrupted the session and told Norman's father that they did not come here to have a real fight. They can come over in Philadelphia to finish the clash. Hackett further claimed that Norman's father said the same thing about Boots, that he was going to get knocked out in the first 3 rounds. Brian Norman Sr. took the sparring session to heart and started talking bad about Boots and his father. Greg believed that Brian Norman Jr. was almost ready to get out of the fight, but his father pushed him to have another 2 rounds with Boots. Before Greg saw Norman's sparring session with Boots, he believed that Brian Jr. could give Terence Crawford and even Sean Porter some work. But as far as the sparring session is concerned, Hackett said that he wanted to check Brian's style and to see whether the claims surrounding him were true. Hackett was trying to figure out what he saw wrong, because Brian Jr. got some serious work against Boots. Moreover, Greg talked about how the fight between Boots and Norman would play out. He further added, if the fight would be better or worse than the sparring. The fight would be better, and it would be worse. It would be better because if they are both combination fighters, it'll be worse because they're beating. That would be put on them a lot worse with them 8 Oz on you because you don't have a headgear on. You don't have a headgear on you. You don't have 16-18 Oz gloves on you. Greg alarmingly stated that it's going to be a live crowd out there and there is going to be no time to see what's going on. In another interview, Brian Norman Jr. was asked about his views on the best man in the division at 147 pounds, to which he jokingly responded that he considers himself to be one of them.
My next question is, obviously, like I said, this is going to position you potentially, you might, if you win against Giovanni, you might end up entering the WBO championship fight, right? And so at that point, I know Terrence has been in the division, but he moved out. Jarron Ennis has a belt. Stanionis and Mario Barrios. Like, looking at it, who do you feel is the best at 147? Because I believe you've been in the ring with Jarron and Terrence, right?
Yeah. So regarding that question, you asking that like I'm supposed to say somebody else besides myself?
Brian shared that he has sparred with both Boots Ennis and Terrence Crawford. When he was asked about facing Jarron Ennis, Brian said that Boots is looking to become undisputed one day, and so is he. Brian also commented that Boots and his family are amazing people, and he had a good time with them in Philadelphia, but boxing is just boxing. Moreover, Juan Rivera Jr. expressed admiration for Boots and said that he is the best fighter alive.
You know, Bud is Bud. Can't nobody beat Bud. But I'm not gonna say no. You know, Boots, that's my man. So I feel like Boots can do it.
So you think Boots is the only one?
Yeah, I feel like Boots is the only one. Boots not trying to be biased or anything, but I feel like Boots is the best fighter alive. Though.
Rivera Jr. believed that Ennis is showing a lot of promise and is considered a rising star. Ennis is still a younger fighter who is gaining recognition and climbing the ranks in boxing. He represents the new generation of fighters who are proving their skills and making a name for themselves. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn shockingly revealed that the IBF just called out Jarron to defend his title against a very formidable adversary, Karen Chukadzian.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, look, we'd love to fight this year. If it's not, it will be early in 2025. But that's the key now for us, to get that fight. You know, I want to make one thing clear that, you know, I see some comments about Jarron Ennis, you know, the mandatory has been called.
Eddie Hearn seemed disappointed at the IBF for calling out a rematch of Boots with Karen Chukadzian. Hearn was of the opinion that he needed to make Boots fight Conor Benn, which would have been an amazing fight for the fans. Hearn distressingly claimed that he is not over the moon when he heard about Karen because Jarron Boots has already fought him before. Eddie further commented on his hands being tied when it comes to the biggest fight for Boots. There's nothing we can do in terms of the mandatory that's been called, but we want to make the biggest fights out there, so you know it's frustrating if it's a fight that has to be ticked off quickly. Well, we'll do it. Jarron Ennis is consumed with the hunger to become the undisputed champion. He has made it clear that his next fight will be a unification bout in the welterweight division. What are your thoughts on the unification bout between Brian Norman and Boots Ennis? Who is telling the truth among both parties? Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.